Alrighty. When last we left off, the Left Stars were in the middle of a fight against Guardians in the lower levels of the Blood Bank of Ventus, facility that kept the local vampire population fed. And in the time that you've been here, notice that not only was it deactivated, but there were a number of anti-vampire protections put in place. The party managed to survive the fight with a few close calls, and then opened a door to reveal a kind of like rabid husk of a vampire believed to be Jasper, alongside a magic blade that he had in his possession. Among the scraps of paper in the room from his journal, the word Sebastian triggered something within Flint, who was then peer pressured to reveal some information about his past. An anti-vampire organization known as the Dawnbringers, who he believes are sponsored by the king in some form or fashion. After talking through that, you all revealed a hidden path that led behind the marble walls, but chose to keep that to yourselves for now and hunt down some rust monsters that you found evidence of that could pose a threat to the blood bank infrastructure, which you know Hardhold would not like. And also Drada's very sad, but that's pretty stable. So we sort of left off at the tail end of a short rest. And I think I did yours for you, Mouse, if you just want to double check you had 3 hit points left. I was like, I don't know if you want to spend another hit die, but
I'm good.
Okay. But you guys are currently underground in a cave system. So how would you like to go about this hunt?
Okay, guess. Alright, I'm out of it. Are we just trying to find where they're from and then just ending them? Is that the goal here?
I think so. I think we probably want to try to clear them out and see, well, both so they don't damage, the blood bank thing, and also in case there's another way for us to get in and out of here that's not going through the marble walls.
Well, you seem to know at least a little bit about them. How big do their groups usually tend to be?
I don't know how much I know about them.
You can roll. You previously rolled a history check, did you? Or was that? Yes, I think so.
I rolled a Tinker's Tool check for something.
I see a history check that was a 24.
Yes, I think I did make you roll for it. So this is sort of like as the stories go. You have not had to exterminate them yourself. People in your position would be crazy to proactively do that, and yet you are doing that today. But it depends on as you understand it. If you're talking about a single one, that would be very uncommon, and that's what you've seen so far. So your instinct is that there must be at least a couple more, but you've heard tell of, especially with just one of them, only seeing one of them, that was likely a scavenger of some sorts that would bring things back to a larger hive. You could anticipate that being anywhere from like 10 of them to 100, depending on what metallic food there is around. So without sort of like, you sort of look at the walls with the light that you guys are casting throughout the space, and see that they've been picked relatively clean, or at least you don't see a ton of iron. So that either tells you that they're running out of food, or that they've they're simply still looking for it.
So, could be, I mean, potentially a really big group, but it seems like, given the iron here, they're probably not like a huge group. Like,
Okay.
but
I think
we'll
Clax
find out.
probably says, and so what does it mean to be wearing iron?
I'm pretty sure they could fairly quickly deteriorate weapons and armor and like metal things. I think maybe my infusions will protect them, but I don't know. I know magical stuff usually doesn't get affected. Unclear or uncertain if I think my infusions will protect them or not. I still have my like last set of armor in the bag of holding, so I could change into that and just, if it gets ruined, it gets ruined.
I could take mine off and then just kind of suffer the low AC.
Clax speaks up and says, like, yeah, like how dangerous are these things? Should I? What's the situation?
I shot one of them down in like 2 shots, but if it's 1 times 10 or 15, that it's scary quickly.
Yeah, 10 or 15 to anything is scary pretty quick. If they're all just small like that, maybe we can take them out pretty quick, but I don't know if they make bigger ones or something.
Do we have like any explosions among us that we could like possibly like cave in the area?
I know, or at least I think, both Drada and I can make spikes grow in the ground. So if there was a way to like corner them and make them run over a bunch of spikes, they could maybe just hurt themselves.
Well, and I can make some pretty big explosions and stuff. I don't think it'll cause a cave-in or anything like that. But I think we also potentially want to be able to go that way.
Yeah, what if we didn't cave in the entire structure that's important for the job we're trying to do? As much as I'm pro chaos, maybe not that.
Pretty sure my stuff won't cause a cave-in.
Love that. Before anything else, hey, Flint, can I see the bag of holding, like, now?
Sure, what you need.
You just got a very cool sword, and, I know it's magical. I also just don't want to risk anything, so, I'd love to shove that in a bag for a bit.
Sure, yeah. We'll put the magic sword in the bag of holding.
Yeah, as soon as Drada puts it away, like, you can tell he looks a little bit lighter. Not happy, but a little bit lighter.
We start making our way over there.
Well,
we all rested? Do we feel good?
I was gonna say, do we want to do that today, or do we want to try to long rest, for the night somewhere and deal with them tomorrow? I don't know how everybody's feeling.
I mean,
I can still go today.
Clax speaks up and says, I'm doing fine.
I don't have my biggest things, but I still have plenty of resource.
I'm on the same page with Mouse.
I'm light on spells, but I'm quite light on spells, but my hit points are good.
I mean, not that I'm any great shakes as a spellcaster anyway, but Flint and I are in similar places.
Maybe we can just.
Clax looks like he's considering whether or not he should take off his armor.
If we do wait until tomorrow, overnight, I could probably try to take the infusion off my shield and put it on Clax's armor, which will hopefully protect his armor.
Yeah, but that means we have to do this tomorrow, and we've got things to do.
True.
What time of day is it right now?
You're underground, so not sure, but
So fair.
it's you've been down here for since leaving in the morning. You expect it's been like I would say, having taken a short rest, you guys probably ate lunch because you were quite hungry, so probably late afternoon.
Aren't we on the side of the island? So wouldn't we be able to see
Oh well,
if it's still light out or not?
um, yeah, but it
Okay.
is still light out. But I think it's like you don't really have a track of time. Per se.
Yeah, we can't see the sun. Yeah.
I mean, I can change my armor to my old stuff and try and stay up in the front, and keep Clax hopefully kind of away from things, or I guess Clax can take his armor off.
I can take mine off and just stay in the way back,
I mean, that's basically up until recently how you did things.
Right. So just be kind of going back to basics.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, on
Well-
the other hand, actually, I want to roll. Clack's intelligence. Okay, he says, on the other hand, just posing this as an idea, but I mean, if they like metal, I can take a few hits if it means grouping them up.
Yeah, but then your armor's probably gonna get messed up. And I don't know. Granted,
If we
you should get
timed
used
it
to-
right, maybe we could use you as bait. And then at the last second, I can turn you into like something big. Like a
Love
giant
something big.
Giant Whatadon?
Armadon.
He gives you the squinty face. I mean, if it's... Sure.
I mean, I'm hearing the vibes of let's just get it over with. You may be a reckless, terrible idea, but am I picking those vibes up correctly?
Sounds like it. Give me a minute, or 10 minutes? I forget how long it takes to don and doff armor. But
It's 10 minutes, yeah.
10 minutes.
Is studded leather affected by this? Are we just
Tech-
gonna have the?
oh, sorry.
I'm just like picturing like, oh no, Mouse and I get attacked, and they just go for some really specific points.
I would guess no, but maybe you lose a stud or two.
That's fine.
I'm gonna take mine off just in case, because I don't want to be this big walking hunk of metal if Clax is trying to be the bait.
Well, and I feel like Flint would know this.
I
I
would...
think shields are cheap.
Shields are the cheapest
Compared to-
piece of armor, I think, besides leather armor. But yeah,
Yeah, shields are like
10 gold.
10
yeah.
gold. So I figure I'm going to use my shield. Well, my shield, I guess I have an infusion on it, so hopefully is protected. But I figure if you have a shield, might as well use it. If it gets damaged, it's 10 gold.
Alright, then I'll take off my scale mail.
No one's gonna die. It's gonna be fine.
I'm the bait, and then I turn into an Armadon.
Yep.
Is this anything...
Armadillos aren't very threatening. Are we sure about this?
It's also my experience being shape-shifted before wasn't my favorite memory.
Yeah, but that was in a storm. This is a totally different situation. You're gonna love this.
I think you're gonna love it, and I think you're gonna love it even more when roughly an hour and 10 minutes from now, when you might have a change of, I don't know, personality or something, someone comes back and realizes, oh no, I've been turned into an animal again.
After being used as bait.
It's fine. He
Also,
loves,
if it's
Clax
love
loves
the
being a
rabbit.
rabbit. So this will be fine.
I think
Also, if you want to be bait, if it's of help to before transformation or concurrently with transformation, I'm good at taking the first shot and making it really count. So happy to contribute that as well.
I'm gonna be less quiet. I say as I take my breastplate off and put whatever my old armor was back on. Scale mail?
How to take their
damn it.
earrings off. It's very sad.
I will say that this studded leather is not a concern. It like Flint said. I would say what it may do is it may attract attention, but it wouldn't be damageable beyond repair. You would just have to replace a few studs. Whereas like other Flint would describe like armor that is predominantly metal would become unusable in time. So those of you who wish to wear studded leather, it's really no big deal.
I don't want to lose my scale mail that I just got, so I'm taking it off.
You still have your studded leather?
I guess I do. I guess I could do that. Oh yes, okay. That was a good idea. Thank you so much.
We didn't get matching uniforms for nothing.
That is true. So now we're matching again.
While everyone else is changing clothes, can I take a couple steps away and just listen to see if, because I know at one point we were concerned that people had followed us to the blood bank, just making sure that we haven't continued to be followed.
You can make a perception check if you would like. You just gotta roll one lower, and you'd probably roll higher.
Would roll higher.
As best as you can tell, you have not been followed at least in this deep. You know, who knows what's happening way back in the blood bank, which is a good 30 minutes down the tunnel.
I shut the doors. Nothing could go wrong.
Yeah.
Guys, want to make our way over there?
Okay, let's go. Let's do it. Right.
So I'm in front, says Glax.
Do we want Clax in front or Dorada way out front and Clax?
I can be way up front and let everybody know when we're getting close, and like spring plan Dragonbait into action.
We're all gonna owe Clax new armor.
We're all gonna owe Sean an apology.
I think Operation Dragonbait has to be the name of the episode.
Yes.
Had to write that down.
Yeah, we should name sessions more. I think that feels important.
Kevin does.
Yeah, in the YouTube at least I do. But
Yes.
Okay. Well, Drada, if you are leading, you all, at the very least you can backtrack a good 15 minutes from where you had, I'd say 15 to 20 minutes from the place that overlooks the marbled walls, or rather is under the marbled walls, until you reach that T intersection that you had initially found the single rust monster in. But as you start to make your way back down that path that you chose not to go, Drada, how are you leading this effort? I know you said you're staying far ahead, but what are you looking for? What is your approach? Stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm staying a fair bit ahead so that I have enough time to, as quietly but quickly as possible, circle back to the party and be like, okay, it's getting close, or like we can see the group of them, a clearing's opening up, etc., etc. Yeah, I think I'm looking for like cracks in the ground that could indicate like how many could be coming and going. I'm looking on the walls and trying to see, are there substantial like veins of anything, or has it just been cleared up? I think I'm trying to go swiftly but quietly and ascertain number as I go.
Okay. Well, if you're staying relatively far ahead, I'm going to ask you for a solo stealth check to get started. Of course, you are doing your Drata thing, but it is a rocky tunnel, so there is potential for noise. Cool. With a 15, you slink ahead. If you could roll me, I think. I guess I'm just leaning towards. I would say it's sort of just perception if you're trying to hear the sounds of chittering that you heard before, but otherwise you're going to have to do sort of investigation if you're trying to find investigation or survival if you're trying to track them and try to identify where a nest may be.
It's probably a survival check.
Okay, that's good. For some reason, I thought you had higher than +2.
No, I really don't.
You're a perception king, but maybe not survival king. You start as you go down this intersection. You find that sort of with what Flint has described before with the veins, although it is a little bit difficult to find them in dark vision without any kind of glint of light reflecting off of them. With the survival 20, you're able to sort of distinguish sort of like what looks like cracks versus what is sort of like a discolored or darker vein of something. And you're starting to use that information to identify where there are not veins, because that sort of indicates the direction that they have traveled in. The clear path where there is no iron is the path that must lead back to the hive. And so as you travel down this corridor, sort of reporting back every 10 or so minutes, you spend probably a good hour or so going northward with your party and sort of marking off different twists and turns that you know they must not be. You would have to, there's opportunity, I think you realize with the survival 20 to go peering down those directions someday as well, should you ever wish to see what else is beneath the city. But for the time being, focused on your mission, you direct the party forward. And it is sort of as you are close to reporting to the party again that you peer down a tunnel and it reveals a more expansive opening. Here, you pause for a moment, not just because even within your sort of enhanced dark vision, you do not really see the end of this cavern. You just sort of see darkness beyond a certain point. But even with your sort of with the position you've taken up in this moment, you see a couple rust monsters floating around, and you also see what looks to be sort of these different colorless bulbs on the ground that are sort of sized almost like large egg sacs. You would have to get a closer look to as bulbs like eggs.
Great.
You'd have to. This is just sort of what you see as you're first peering in, and with a stealth 15, that's sort of as comfortable as you're getting with that roll. But you definitely cannot see the whole chamber from where you're standing.
Okay. So you said there's two 2 creatures and 2 bulbs.
You see, there's an undefined, like a small group of rust monsters roaming around, and there's a large amount of these eggs they're sort of like scattered throughout the chain. Like you can't see them all, but they're sort of scattered throughout the chamber and on the walls and whatnot.
Great. I would love to report back. We found I can't see again.
I'm sorry, you're cutting out a bit.
I was about to say we can't really hear you.
There's a giant fucking cavern that I can't really get into. And like eggs, a lot of eggs on the walls and on the like, not like New Robin's eggs, like sack eggs types. Yeah, that's a fun up. How are we feeling like approaching?
You mentioned you can make like spikes on the ground, Mouse?
Yes.
Could probably start with some of that and then start shooting things and making noise to lure them our direction. And then, I don't know, once they're all coming this way, I can try and blow a bunch up and see how it goes.
You want to kind of like set up like a choke point, essentially? Like in the mouth of the cave? Or
Does that make sense to me?
I will say my spikes will only last for 10 minutes.
10 minutes seems like a really long time.
And they will go away as soon as or if I change Clax into something else.
if you do that, I mean, at that point, I can cast my version of eggs that are probably less effective, but get the job done.
Start with spikes and see how it goes.
Like spikes and shot at the same time.
Yeah. So should we all like prep something? Could we see these creatures if we walk to the mouth of the cave, or are they too far deep in for like regular dark vision?
Well, Drada's relying on. Well, so I think the first question is, who has light? Drada does have enhanced dark vision, so they were able to see better than anybody else would. But I think Clax, at least in his current form, has the light from the axe. Flint has dark vision, and
that light will go away if we transform Clax. So might be worth casting light on something else.
Okay, I can cast light on just like a rock in the cavern. Up to how far away can I do that? Oh, I have to touch it. Oh, ew. So I can touch a rock that's near us.
Yeah.
Okay, so as soon as battle starts, I'll cast light so we could see.
Yeah, I mean, you can also, I'm not telling you what to do. You can just like cast light on your hat, and it follows you. But it depends on, but then, light draws attention. So I'm not telling you that that's the best option.
Right. Well, I think if we're doing a chokehold point, we're going to be in the same spot, aren't we?
Yeah. I think kind of try and pull up in the mouth of this cave and see how it goes. I'm assuming my turret is long gone.
The one that you previously made is, yes.
Yeah.
Oh. Hey, Drada, how big was that opening?
How big was that?
Well, if you're trying to establish a choke point, you would gauge that at least one of them was maybe 25 feet, but you're not really sure how this is a cavern with several different offshooting tunnels, and you're not really positive how it's all sort of networked. You don't know if they could go around and this and that, so it's sort of hard to know perfectly.
I was more worried about Clax getting stuck if we tried to run away.
Oh. Well, with regards to the giant Armadon, at least, you're not concerned about that. Especially because I think it has a burrow speed. But...
Man, I am lighter on spells than I realized. Do we all still have 10 hit points? I realized mine has reset.
I think everybody should have 13, because I think you...
Mine are still there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine are not.
Yeah, it wasn't destroyed, so you would have just popped it at the end. Like, just
All right. So we
everybody
should
can go
all
to 13.
13.
Ooh.
Oh, that's wait. Sorry. You should. I think Clax, because you had changed it to a flamethrower in advance of
Yeah.
the vampire husk. So Clax did get bit and then healed up.
Yeah, I forget exactly the timing. I did have a fire turret at some point. I don't think I ever actually used it. I think it was after the vampire, but
yeah.
Regardless. Yeah.
We're fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna burn my last first level spell and summon that fire turret again. Or cannon. Flamethrower cannon.
Okay. For the purposes of this upcoming combat, I would consider it to be a magical object. Because
Thank God.
because you do put your magic into it. It's functionally an infusion. So for what that is worth.
All right, let's see what happens.
Right.
Clax sort of speaks up and says, "So am I in front this time?"
You would be both, I think, if need be.
I'm gonna get on the ceiling. Okay, who agreed to do this?
Yes, I totally did. I Clax, not the DM.
Yes, yes, you Clax, yes.
Clax starts to march forward. What other light sources are we using in this moment? Just to confirm.
I'm going to cast light on a nearby rock by the mouth of the cave as soon as the action starts.
We still have glow rocks from you, Flint, right?
There should be two of them floating around.
I will keep mine in like my front pocket so I can just grab it if I need it.
So Clax starts to march forward. How far ahead are you having him be ahead of the rest of the party?
I'm sort of imagining Clax and Flint up towards the front, with the goal being to just like get to wherever the this cave opens up, just like the entrance to the larger room, so we can hopefully hold sort of a choke and they can't just surround us. And then we're casting spikes and something else.
Okay. Going to bring up a map. I'm going to ask you to only, in a minor way, reposition yourselves, because I'm not trying for you to be able to scout this whole place and everything that it has to offer. So, well, first, before I actually do that, I do need a stealth check, I should say.
From all of us?
Yes.
I no longer have disadvantage. Woo! I think.
I
Dex
now
does.
have disadvantage.
I thought I rolled for
Oh,
class. Did it not show up? Weird. I saw my dice for clacks, but it did not actually show up in the chat.
Hey.
All right, we're doing this again. Okay, but he has disadvantage. Oh wow! All right.
Pretty good disadvantage.
All in all, that was relatively decent. The party won out, for the most part. That said, the light does sort of stand to draw attention in and of itself, and as you and as Flint and Clax sort of approach the area that Drada had indicated, and the light breaches into the room, there is a sort of recognition that you all have, that as you start to see like different feathered eyes and shapes turn your way. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the map. There is a surprise round for those who succeeded on their stealth checks, which is going to be Mouse, Drada, and Clax. You are all go ahead and, like, again, you can reposition yourselves just a
we
little.
lost you.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead and reposition yourselves just a little bit in this space. We're not trying to min-max your exact position per se. But sort of to the northeast of this space is the area indicated that opens up. I'm going to go ahead and add folks to initiative.
Don't know. I'm gonna hit something just to see if it gives me a whatever the thing is where you can put the space for a spell. No, it does, but I don't think it's right.
Okay.
Nope, that was the wrong button. That's why it looked wrong.
Oh, you're trying to do that. Oh, the fire.
Yeah, I was trying to see how the cone looks.
Yep, you're good. Go ahead and roll initiative when you get the chance.
Drada, I think you probably still have a +8. Plus D8. Sorry.
Drada's in front, so I'm not even gonna. Yeah. Okay, fine. Fine, I'll add it. Now you're at 21 instead of 17. Okay. So, as you start, I think the people who succeeded on their stealth check were Clax, Drada, and Mouse. It is sort of the three of you who have an awareness that you have been spotted, but not without being prepared. So starting with Drada, you look into the room and see heads turning. Currently, you are in the light, and you know that they see you, but they are surprised. These would be attacks that would be auto crits.
Love that. Love that. I guess, yeah, the closest one to me, we're gonna start throwing some crossbow bolts at it. And I will be using sharpshooter if I will.
Please do. Their AC is 14, just because there's a lot of them, so I'm not gonna tell you all the time. Yeah, so you are good.
Okay.
And we'll. Okay, we're gonna have to roll extra hit or damage dice whenever these auto crit, because it doesn't know that.
Yes. If it is helpful for me just to calculate the dice on my own and do it, I can do it. Or
Yeah.
I
Go ahead
can
and
figure it out as we go.
yeah,
whatever
go ahead and just
works.
roll your 4 shots, and then we'll figure out how many dice you have to roll.
Cool. And I just say, yeah, I will roll my 4 attacks, and if at any point anyone goes down, I shoot to a different. I move to a
Yeah,
different one
yep.
in range.
I think shift click is the auto advantage.
Thank you.
And are you using your bonus action to roll another attack? Yep. Okay.
Yep. I
Cool.
sure am.
So go ahead and roll 4 more d8 or 5. Sorry, 46 plus 1d8 because we're talking the Dread Ambusher attack as well.
Or would it be? It'd be 2d8. The d8 damage
Yes,
with crit.
you're correct. You're correct.
And sneak attack.
Oh yes.
Surprise round. We'll add 4 more d6.
Okay. We'll figure it out someday. It's always
Someday.
relearning.
So it's 1d8 and 8d6.
Yeah. Okay. So for simplicity, it's hard to diagnose. Okay, I'm gonna say the first one's dead from the sneak attack by alone, because your first attack is gonna overkill one of them, for sure. And I think we have 15, 22, 32, total of 48 damage. I believe, yes. 48 damage. You start to you sort of unload in one that I just deleted here, and as you just sort of draw arrows towards the next one, you pepper it with the remaining 3, and it is still up, albeit barely.
Then bonus action, or not bonus action, movement. I will try to move just out of the light as much as I can for a second.
You do, yeah, you do sort of, as you're moving in that direction, you see that there are a couple around this corner this way. You are on the ceiling, which is, I'd say, about 10 feet up and outside of their reach, but you do just sort of clock that.
And I would shout out, we have more company to the right.
Okay. So I'm trying to remember. It was Mouse who got the stealth. So Flint, you're just sort of orienting yourself in this space, as you see Drada start to unleash on something that's just in your periphery vision. Mouse.
Yeah, I'm going to run forward just a little bit to get a better view, and then I'm going to drop a spike growth.
Boy. Foot radius, Jesus. That's a good spell.
I'll take one step back just because I can.
Yeah, just curious. Mouse is a nature person, but also a star person, and you're underground. So what does spike growth look like?
I think almost because we are underground, Mouse is just summoning anything living to her. So she's trying to grow beautiful, probably roses or something pretty, but because we're underground in a cave, they come up kind of gnarly looking.
I think they're almost probably a little imperceptible, if not for the light that's being cast, and sort of casting shadows towards the room. Is that your turn? Any bonus action?
Oh, I will shout out in case my friends didn't see it, because you do have to make a perception check to recognize it as hazardous. I'll say, Claxon Flint, don't go forward.
I think that's sufficient. On Clax's turn. I think he sort of looks at Flint, raises his shield, and says, sort of in the scope of a short conversation, where do I need to stand?
I think where you're at, just don't let him pass this, I guess. Also, if you can help it, make him hit your shield, not your armor. It's cheaper.
He takes the dodge action, holding his shield in front of him.
Also, wait, before we move forward, I'm so sorry to be this person. Did you take sharpshooter damage into account?
I did not. You're totally correct.
That's an additional 40 points of
Okay.
damage.
Well, the first one was already overkilled with one sneak attack shot, so it's 30 points of damage. So you kill a second one, and there's a third one
cool.
that is severely injured. You are correct. Although I didn't actually subtract. Well, here's the problem, because if I subtract 5, then the first one actually doesn't hit. So, you still kill 2 of them, but the third one is not as badly hurt.
Love that for us.
Yep, good call, though. I will remember that in the future. Drada, it is your turn again. As everybody kind of comes out of their surprise, you hear sort of the sound of almost like a hive mind of vibration in the air. There's this chittering of shaking antennae throughout this chamber.
Hate that a lot. I see the one in the tunnel in front of me, and I'm gonna take some shots at him.
Okay.
These will also be sharpshootered.
And they have not. Yes, correct. These are not assassin rolls under any stretch of the means, though. You said not sharpshooter? Is that correct?
The sharpshooters, that misses.
Okay, yeah, that misses. That definitely hits.
Great.
And that definitely hits as well. You all hear, I think, like, even though Drada pointed out them coming from a side room, you all hear a couple shots peppering down the hallway as these like force bolts erupt from the infusion crossbow. Drada, this one that you've shot does not fall down. It is still up.
It's still up.
Yes.
Is that true? Still with sharpshooter damage?
Oh no, you're right. I'm sorry. This one would be sorry. It would die on the second shot.
18 plus 19.
Yes. Sorry. Yes, you definitely smite that one very easily.
Cool. And I think I would use movement to scurry and just check a little bit further in this tunnel, just to be like, oh, there's more branching opportunities, and oh boy, howdy, I see more friends.
Boy, howdy.
Oh, great, know what's coming next.
Alrighty, are you staying put then?
For now, yes.
Okay.
I shout back again. And there's still more.
Sorry, we are remembering rules. You are outside of the light, so you actually would have been invisible on these attacks. They would have all gotten advantage. You want to re-roll the first attack, and then roll the other 2 just in case one of them crits.
Fun.
You can hit the plus if you mouse over the...
I got you.
Gotcha. All right. Remembering rules. Okay. Effectively, you're just getting one more hit on one of the second ones as you creep forward. And it is taking 19 damage. Okay. Flint, it is your turn. You you sort of hear the stories of what you've heard about these things. You know that right now they seem to be attracted to the sound. You know that once they sort of get within 30 feet of something, that's when they start to be more attracted to the metal.
Right. Trying to decide if I think I stay here with Clax or go Heldrada, but I think these ones are going to be... Yeah, these ones are going to be slow. I think take a couple steps over here to see if I can see what the heck Drada's dealing with. I don't see anything at this angle. So I think Flint assumes he got them all. And takes 2 steps back here and probably just shoots at the closest one. One here. I'll just shoot a firebolt.
Okay. 20 definitely hits, but
I get an extra D8, which isn't much, but 8 damage.
okay. Give me a
and I'll-
perception check as well.
Okay. Oh boy. Hitting,
Not very high.
yeah.
I'll give. I'm just based on positioning. I will also give Aesop, Clax, and Mouse a perception check.
Cool. It's almost a 19.
Had to use this PC thing.
Man.
Nope. The moment you're not quite sure if you missed anything or what you missed. But do you have any bonus actions that you would like to take?
I don't think anything's close enough at the moment, so I just bang on my shield real loud, try and make metal noises.
All right.
That's it.
What you missed.
No.
Oh boy.
Would you have been extremely perceptive? You might have seen a glint of some kind of metal off of a large rock here in the middle of the room, from the firebolt sort of casting a very minor amount of light on it. What you instead notice is sort of a rumbling of this rock as almost like a giant hermit crab of sorts. A large creature stands up from the middle of the room who is glittering with iron. And as it stands up, it casts a soft red glow throughout like 10 feet around it. That is it spending half of its movement to stand up as you reveal a very large monster of the rust variety. And it is going to immediately start coming towards you all. When I say it spent half of its movement, I also mean to say this thing is slow. And in dashing into this space that is difficult terrain, go ahead and roll damage twice on this as it moves through 2 squares. But even in dashing, it does not get that far into this space. Wow, that's a pretty high roll. That said, it does seem to, as it's sort of stomping through this, it doesn't seem to be taking as much damage as you would expect. Mouse, it's your turn.
Alrighty, this thing looks scary, but I think for the moment gonna trust in the spikes. I'm going to guiding bolt.
Guiding bolt, big man.
Big man.
Okay. A 24 certainly does hit. as it starts to glow with radiant energy.
Oh,
Oops.
I should have done this in the opposite order. I've made a mistake. Oh well. And then I'm going to archer form. And I will also use my archer attack. Actually, I'll archer attack at the one like directly behind him so that whoever goes next has advantage against the big guy.
Okay, sounds good. So the one that Flint shot with the firebolt.
Yes.
Okay. That definitely does hit for an extra 10 damage.
Archer form fireball.
And I'll just shout, hey, come this way! That's all.
It seems to be doing that. Now it is the regular rust monster's turns. So this is difficult terrain. Is that what I understand?
Yes.
Whew. Okay.
Yeah, spike growth is really good in the right situations.
I'm debating if they can technically even survive it because they have to go move through at least 8 squares. Candidly, these little guys have an intelligence of 2. So
Technically, they have to roll to see if they can even perceive it.
yeah. I mean, I in all circumstances, they are not able to. They have to even reach Clax. Anybody has to spend their dash action to get that close. So no attacks will be made. Go ahead and roll 8. We're going to simplify it for the sake of not rolling each and every one of these people individually. But go ahead and roll. Is it?
It's 2d4 per 5 feet.
Yeah. So we're gonna go and roll 16d4, and I will scale that depending on how deep they make it. Oh my god. That's very satisfying.
It looked very nice.
All right. 2 of them, I'm moving them in, and based on where they are, I'm going to deal damage. Because there are, you know what, I'm going to probably be doing this for a while. Okay, we're going to simplify this because a number of them are just straight dead. So that guy dies. I can't use my push to talk and delete figurines at the same time.
Guys, I get this once per day for free, but we've never had a good chance to
For
use
free?
it.
Wow.
Yeah, every day.
Wild.
Oh, is this your
Wild.
RC halfling thing? Or
It's the same thing that I get Entangle through. You think it's just Druid Circle, maybe? I don't know.
Damn, that's pretty good.
Yes, the stars and spikes.
I love how they're just getting killed by like deformed roses too. Like these roses are just
They're
wiping
fucking, like,
out.
Dead bugs on desiccated earth. It's just.
I know, very Tumblr-esque. You know, like you would take a picture of it and it just blow up on Tumblr. You know, yeah. Like a Lana Del Rey quote down at the bottom. Yeah.
It's because I'm a Lotus Den halfling.
Ooh.
Okay. I'm trying to not accurately measure each and every one of these guys because there's simply too many. As they're sort of pouring in, there are a small mountain of rust monster carcasses that are piling up in front of Clax and Flint. There are a number of them who do survive, but they're all starting to look quite rough as they're just sort of drawn like a moth to the flame. Like initially it's them sort of skittering closer to investigate the sound, but as soon as they get close to Clax and Flint, they start to almost manically, this is why they use their dash action, just start to just charge in, ignoring the pain. That said, even as some of them immediately fall, I think there are several who are completely ignoring Drada, and those of you who look in Drada's direction or have some sight of where Drada is, start to see a couple more coming in through around the corner. A number of them have died just through this first round of spike growth, and none of them have been able to make an attack this turn. As Clax stands there, he sort of looks towards Mouse and says, should I back up or no?
Maybe a step or two. Do you have things you can throw?
Sure. He's sort of looking at you, Flint. He's not trying to leave you behind, but he's trying to make use of the spikes as much as he can. Takes one of his axes and tosses it. I think he has the wherewithal to toss it at the big one, hoping that these small ones are just not going to survive.
With advantage.
With advantage, correct. Plus, it's a pretty good roll. What does he have in his Battle Master stuff? I just need to remind myself. Maybe one of these is cool.
Excuse me.
I think. I don't know that he would use that, so I'm going to hold it back. But he tosses a metal axe into basically like right between the eyes of this thing. First, notices that it doesn't do as much damage as he wanted it to do, and second, through the light that's being cast into this room as the guiding bolt dies down, you start to see the axe in its forehead immediately start to discolor and turn to a brown shade of rust as the metal sort of slaws off and the wooden handle just sort of drops to the ground. Whatever this is sort of rapidly eroding, being rapidly eroded by this creature, which is outside of the ordinary. And I think he sort of looks at that and says, I'm going to keep my other axe for now, and just sort of stands there defensively. Aesop.
Yes, I am going to now that I could see that there's rust monsters coming. You're on the roof, right, Drada? You're like on the ceiling, so you're not on the ground. Okay. I'm going to, since these guys look like they're being, oh wait. Okay, I'm gonna still try. Even though they're being drawn like a moth, because I can't really do much right now. I'm gonna try majoring image, just a wall of stone being cast up to stop the rust monsters from going through, because they can't go through because there's a wall there. So I'm going to try that. I'm gonna place it. Oh god, I'm just gonna put it down. I'm gonna place it right there.
I'm delayed because my screen exploded, so I'm fixing that. No, it's all good. Okay, I do see. So you're putting up a wall to sort of indicate that it's blocked off?
Yeah, I'm gonna do as much as I can, even though we've kind of discerned already that they're not the smartest things in the world. That like the rock from the ground is just being like brought up from the earth to just enclose the entire cavern or tunnel, and they can't go through unless they make a intelligence investigation check.
Just for aware, like, because you've been in this tunnel for a little bit, you do know that there's like there's another path just south of that, like down here. Like
Oh, I
is
didn't
like a
know.
stone.
I
This is like a
didn't.
stone pillar. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know it connected because I didn't move.
Yes. Well,
Okay,
you
crap.
would have known that walking in. So if you
Okay.
want to reposition it, you might be able to barely cover. Let me move this around a little bit. I'd say if you
I was gonna
if
say-
you put it like right here-ish,
Okay.
probably like
So I
right
can't
here-ish.
I can't see the other end where the
Yeah.
wall would be.
Yeah, where I just moved it probably covers both ends as best as possible.
Okay.
Drada, you see a wall of stone rising behind you and trapping you in this space.
I just think like, wow, Aesop's really doing some great work. Like, I didn't know he could do that, but I'm glad he learned Mold Earth. Good for him.
I would say, based on the placement that you were forced to make to close off the space, you are casting it on top of one of them, and you know that one would sort
Get
of
through.
yeah, because it's having an active physical interaction with it. So
Yeah.
but yeah, you put up the illusion.
I do. And then since I got all my bardic inspiration back through that short rest, I will give one to, because I can't technically see Drada anymore, I'll give it to Flint.
Dare you? You can. I'm in the light. Yeah, go with the foot.
Alrighty.
Yes.
Sorry, do you want to move as well? Or are you gonna stay put?
I'm good where I'm at.
Okay. Drada, it is your turn.
Yeah, it is.
There's a
that was
little
bardic
bit,
inspiration. It's
yeah.
fine.
Clax having backed up, you do see that there's a little bit more light peering into the room, but you right now just
Yeah,
step into the
I-
shadows.
I sure do. And thus the popping resumes.
Alrighty.
Again, 4 shots.
All sharpshooter?
with
All
sharpshooter.
advantage sharpshooter. Okay, got it. I will remember this time. The one you previously hit is the one that seems to have disappeared behind the illusion, so all the ones you're shooting are fresh, I will say.
Cool.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh,
That's fun.
That's
Two natural 20s.
It is a 2 natural 20s, which we do have our fabled action rules for that. So you certainly, with the first 2 attacks, you certainly obliterate one of them. What is the legend that people hear about this moment 20 years from now?
20 years from now, I think you hear sorry. Drada, an expert craftsman, an expert marksman, grew to take on many a trial, a challenge in the world. And eventually matured into a real adult with deep complex emotions. Fucking bugs, man. Just annihilate insect or insectoid things. He's a creepy little vampire boy and also is terrified of insects and will do anything he can do to make sure, or anything insectoid vaguely, just deceases from this world. He's pretty good at doing so.
I think it's like the legend of. I think the legend also
Legend
adds
of
like
the Dark Pusher.
your favorite terrain is like mountains and whatnot, and I think it's sort of like the fabled insect hunter who's spent decades underground.
Full on Bear Grylls survivalist, out in the world. So,
I will also say you would have got sneak attack on that first attack, so you're actually killing 2 of them with these first 2 shots. You pop one of them
Sick.
immediately. The second one crit. You kill that. You annihilate that one.
and third.
And that hits, but it is still standing.
And then for movement, I think I moved a smidge just to get into the darkness. I just want to pop a little further into this cave and then just to see, does this open up into the main cavern or are there more friends? monster? And the answer is it does.
Yeah, I think you poke your head around and you do see the large one around the corner.
Great.
You do also, I mean, they seem to be relying on dark vision, but you see this one that got shot is sort of turning its head up towards the ceiling, trying to find you.
And that's my turn.
Okay. Flint, you are up.
Oh boy. I think seeing how effective spike growth is, Flint's gonna mostly hold off on doing anything big and fancy. Take a step back, like Clax, and just shoot a firebolt at the big one.
Okay.
Seems like his allies are doing work.
That definitely is a hit and does a decent amount of damage. Give me another perception check if you don't mind.
Sure. Can't see shit here.
Okay. Other people.
I'm technically glowing, so you'd have a little more light of sight.
That's fair. That's fair. I will give advantage, actually, because of something in particular.
All right.
Okay. Well,
it was almost an 18.
What you do notice is that it doesn't seem to take as much damage as you expected. You're not sure why, though. That is very atypical for rust monsters. For this one to have some kind of fire resistance does shock you as a little strange.
I'll also, I guess, as my bonus action. Oh. I think, looking at this, I was going to use my flamethrower, but I don't know that it would hit more than one of them. So I'll be mean, and I'll try and telekinetic shove the closest one just back 5 feet. Because why not?
Why not? Why not?
Which I probably have a button for somewhere. Yeah. So that's to make a strength save DC 17.
No can do. This one gets shoved 5 feet back. Force movement does not cause damage on the spike growth, though. So
does it not? Okay. It's still got to walk forward again.
Yeah. Okay. And you're staying put. Are you moving at all?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I took a. I'll move my cannon back, I guess, a little.
Okay.
No, I don't think I can actually because I used my bonus action for something unrelated.
Yeah.
So no, I'm good.
Mouse, you are up.
Yeah, so I'm starting to get worried about the ones down this hall. So I'm gonna attack this first one. First with.
I'm not sure if you can actually see them.
Well, Aesop so the entire 4x4 square is probably the way Aesop described the illusion is probably not a 4x4 square. It's probably more of like a wall. So assuming that it was placed to block off the corridor, this one would be on this side.
Okay, I gotcha.
So yeah, I think you can see this one.
Okay. I was just thinking for some reason I was amazing and could see through illusions, which isn't true. So I'll start with my archer form.
A 16 does hit, and this one was hurt already by Drada and just sort of splays in radiant energy on the ground.
And then I'll throw another guiding bolt at the big guy I can see.
Okay. Uh, 22 does hit. I'm not going to make it glow again because it broke its inherent glow. Okay, I had to remake it, but it is currently glowing from the guiding bolt light.
But otherwise, I'm going to stay put.
Okay. It is the rust monster's turn. Candidly, all these ones inside cannot survive. So as they continue to sniff out the source of metal immediately in front of them, you see they all just sort of pile into this corridor that you've created and perish. But Flint, I would say, with dark vision at the edge of a periphery, you do see more of them moving in on the edges. Andrada, as you sort of are listening, you hear more coming from this far way as well. And actually, a couple of them come into view. Again, nothing seems to be in range, but there seems to be a lot more where those few came from. Klax sort of stands there looking up at the big one. I don't know what he does. I think he is just...
I think he technically has my light crossbow. If he wants to shoot crossbow bolts, but
I expect he would want to keep his axe out because of the light.
yeah.
I think he's just like, fuck it, I'll get new armor if I have to, and just sort of takes the dodge action and stands firm. Face up.
You said the big hulking monster has
Oh wait,
like a
when I had to remake it, it did drop off of the initiative. Let me bring it back onto the initiative. It had a 16, I believe. So this, or no, sorry, it was after Klax. No, it was after Flint. That's right. Sorry, because I had to fix the light issue. This thing actually had a turn a while ago. It would have spent that turn trying to crawl through these spikes. Let's be clear. It is quite slow. Mouse, if you can roll 10 more D4 as this thing is crawling through. It is reaching the edge.
That's a pretty good roll.
It is a pretty good roll. And because of how far it got, I think actually Klax would have also... Sorry. No, yes. Okay. Flint used your turn correctly. It would have moved forward, and then Klax probably would have had the wherewithal to step forward and just take a few swings. As opposed to taking the dodge action.
Fair.
So we're going to do... an 18 would have hit, and a 15 would not have hit, but he would use a precision attack to try to make that a hit because it's a good roll, and would have landed 2 more shots. So this creature, as Klax is sort of wailing into it, thanks to the magic weapon, it does seem to be taking significant damage. But all of that being said, now Aesop is your turn, as Klax is just sort of standing in front, trying to, like, aware that there's the potential for harm to come to his way and his armor's way quite soon. But he is trying to stand firm in this moment.
You said there's a like a giant deposit of iron in this thing, right?
As you're sort of looking at it in the light, I think about it, that first attack would be with advantage. Okay, sorry, the guiding bolt light is gone. But as you see it in Klax's light, you do see that there are these like metal or iron veins running throughout this like hermit crab-like shell of it itself.
And how far away in the position it's in now? It's not close to the ceiling, is it?
It's bare. Honestly, it's because it's getting into this choke point that you've said. It does narrow down a bit here. So I say around here, the ceiling is only like 15 feet high, and it is sort of close to the ceiling.
I just want to see what shatter does to this thing and the iron deposits. So I think I'm gonna cast shatter specifically on its shell. I'm not trying to cause a cave in, but if that happens, it happens, sort of thing. but that is what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put that in chat. It's gonna put it at the back top part of the shell.
Alrighty, let's give it a con save. It is not a construct, so it does not have disadvantage. But are you trying to cause like a partial collapse under it, or are you trying to just hit its shell?
Seeing as how, do I know there's another way into this main cavern? Have I seen it?
No, you would not know.
I would not know. You're right. I think Aesop would think it would do more damage if rocks fall on top of it, but it might stop the spike growth. So I'm not trying to do a cave in. I'm just trying to hit its shell.
Okay. Well, the thunder damage is you sort of see it shudder as there's a localized blast of this energy that does create a soft echo throughout the chamber. So it does suffer the damage. It doesn't seem to have any surprising consequences. It seems like you hit something with the shatter spell.
Okay. And my useful bonus action is to give out Bardic Inspiration, which I'm pretty sure you still have Flint. So I'm going to give my next one to, since I can't see Drada, I'm going to give it to, he's right up front, Clax. There you go.
Alrighty. Drada, it is, well, Aesop, you can move if you'd like, but otherwise, Drada, it is your turn.
Cool. I think Drada, seeing that there's a host more friends coming, starts to head out that way, and then goes, "Oh boy, howdy! Look, there's. Wow, I'm seeing it for the first time. A much larger creature. And I think would probably instead bonus action Hunter's Mark on the large one, then take 2 shots.
Okay. Are these sharpshooter shots or not?
I think they are. We'll see if they do anything.
Okay. I will tell you, you do not have advantage. Something that surprises you, as it seems to have an awareness that extends beyond your expectations. So taking that natural one.
Yeah, so that flies wide.
You can choose to not do sharpshooter for the ladder attacks if you like knowing that now.
We'll just see what happens. We'll do another sharpshooter shot. It's a new thing. Let's try it.
Okay.
Bad ideas.
That does not hit, unfortunately.
No, it does hit. And I think knowing that it can see me and I don't love that, I retreat back towards the secondary column to just maybe we reconsider and go back to shooting.
Okay. Flint, it is your turn. You're on the edge, like it is radiating this sort of like red energy throughout it, and you see that Clax is sort of in that energy presently, but you are just on the edge of it. It's kind of hard to see because of all the stuff happening on this map, but from 10 feet away from it, there is this energy radiating.
A red energy, huh?
A rust-colored energy.
A rust-colored energy. Oh, Okay.
I'll make it a little brighter just for visual clarity.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I don't see it really. Well, I'll at the very least take a step backwards. Oh, now I definitely see it.
So you had to look at the edge of the spike growth to see the rest.
Aesop, are you sure Drada's okay. You kind of walled him off or something.
It's a major image.
Oh. Man.
It's not just a normal image. It's pretty nice. It's like major, all things considered.
Mhm.
All right, I don't need to worry about the little ones up there. I can't see the other big one, even if I can see through this wall. So I think I just try and shoot the big guy again with a firebolt. I know it's not doing much, but
Okay. A 24 does hit for 13, cut in half for 6.
And seeing that glowing light, it's probably not going to do very much, but I am going to go ahead and try and telekinetic shove it backwards 5 feet. Does this work on?
I think it's a weird ability that size doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, as long as that's true, then yeah. I attempt to shove it back 5 feet.
I should have rolled. It's fine.
Yeah.
It stands firm in this moment.
All right.
Alrighty.
Drada, it's an illusion if you need to come this way. That's all.
At the beginning of its turn, technically this would have happened. I've really dropped the ball as far as managing this combat and all the things going on. Technically, this would have happened when Clax entered its space, but I'm doing this late so as to not be too punishing. This magical aura starts to pulse in Clax's direction, and we're going to see just sort of what happens as sort of pieces of his armor start to take discoloration. He does have Bardic Inspiration. He's going to use that. It's a D8.
Sure is.
There you go. He so it's only really he sort of like raises his shield. He sees that the energy seems to be creating a more focused glow around his ring mail, and he sort of like shrivels up a little bit to hide behind his shield, enough to share whatever corruption energy is happening to him in this moment, and to avoid any permanent damage to a single item. But it is this creature's turn, and it sees a big metal creature right in front of it. It only has one attack, but it is going to make a bite attack with advantage because this creature is wearing non-magical metal. For a 26, unless somebody has anything to say to that.
I'm gonna try my best to celebrate Barbs. My reaction.
Which I believe only re-rolls the d20 that was successful. So I'm going to re-roll. This is a d20 plus 7. A 15 is not enough to connect with Clax. As it starts to come down, how do you deflect its attention for just a moment?
Well, I was thinking, how is it attacking with like its claw thing?
No, this is a bite attack. It's sort of like it's opening this maw that is trying to come down and eat the metal on Clax's body.
Oh god, how am I gonna distract it? I think I'm gonna be like, hey, isn't that a large iron deposit way over there behind you? I don't know if he could understand common, but maybe he hears the word iron.
I think it's just the noise you're making is a temporary distraction. It's conflated between the tasty meal in front of it and the other threats surrounding it, and it sort of gives Klax enough breathing room to sidestep this attack. And that is the end of its turn. Mouse.
Yeah, I think the armor is important. I drop spike growth, and as my action, cast not counterspell, polymorph. Counterspell would have been great. And then turn him into a giant Armadon.
Alrighty. You, Millie, are responsible for explaining this to Klax and why he didn't try to resist this
Just in
spell.
time for him to potentially join.
Yeah. As I think there's a degree of Klax looking at looking at Mouse and squinting but nodding, such as to not resist the spell, as you all see the shape start to change, and this huge armadillo-like creature rises in the space that Klax was not too long ago. As big as the monster in front of you, sort of like Flint's cannon is sort of just at its feet. And it's sort of on all fours. It has this sort of like red turtle-like carapace and this long bony beak. As it turns towards the rust monster with no metal on its body.
Going metal free. And then I will still use my archer form against the big guy.
Okay. 27 definitely hits.
Oh, and then I'm going to take a couple steps back. I'm a little too close for my personal comfort.
Fair enough.
I do. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I forgot. And he was after Mouse before the Rust Monsters, I believe. No, or after the Rust Monsters. Before
Yes.
Face Off.
After the rust monsters before me.
Yeah. Okay. Token management is hard. Okay, you step back. The light in the room, currently, there's not a whole lot of it. The creature itself is casting light from its corrosive aura, but the light in the room without Klax's axe has diminished significantly.
I'm still glowing too.
Yes, yeah.
I think I'm like 20 feet of bright light and then some
Yes.
dim light.
And if you don't see that, it should be on the screen. But cool. It is the Rust Monster's turn, as some of them still only attracted to the sound are starting to rush up. Candidly, they can all, without the spikes impeding them, I'm just sort of doing some quick measuring. Any one of them that wants to can get in melee range of something. So give me a moment to figure out how to manage that. There's a number of them who sort of pile in around Klax and this other one. I'm just moving them loosely right now because I'll have to iron it out later. Some that are... Let me look at major image really quick. I assume that they just would have no idea.
They can roll for it.
Do they have to spend their action to roll for it?
Let me read. It's an investigation check.
Sorry, but do they have to spend their action to investigate?
Let me see.
Also, they have -4. I don't think they can actually beat the DC. So these ones are sort of forced to go around.
A creature that uses its action to examine. Yep.
Okay. These ones have no idea. They have no way to even guess. So they're just following the path that they know, which requires them to go around. So there's a group of them that sort of like walk through Drada's space, Drada not having enough metal to really draw attention, as they are all of the ones that you see on this map are piled in and around the monster. It's the larger monster itself. But they all spent their dashes to do that. And so you know that after this turn, there's the potential for all hell to break loose. For the time being, they are very, very on top of each other. I think Klax, with an intelligence 5, would just start smacking the big one. As you see this giant Armadon take 2 big claws and just start to rend this thing. It's basically a slightly different giant ape as far as its power level is concerned. As it starts to rend into this one, it is looking, the larger creature is looking quite bad as it is meeting its own match here in this space.
Good job, buddy. Keep it up.
No, I don't know that it has any sounds. It's just rending. Aesop, you are up.
Yep. And there's a whole bunch of them grouped over there. I don't know if my go-to new fun 5th level spell will work. So I'm going to do something that will hopefully work. And I'm going to cast Shatter on the ground, probably on the monster's feet area, at 5th level.
Oh boy. Okay.
I'm gonna try to do it. Oh god.
It's gonna be hard to perfect it. Yeah, I would sort of aim it on instinct, and we'll see what happens.
I think I would just do it on top of the monster and get as many of them as possible.
Okay. I'm gonna move it for you just because it's such a weird coloration there. I'm gonna be... Now, would you can tell me, would you be willing to damage Klax's new form to hit more of them? You know that you can.
I don't think I would.
Okay.
I don't think I would.
I think your second most optimal placement would be probably there-ish. Then you're hitting 5. I think 5 including the big guy. That's also a pretty high roll. Sorry, selecting tokens. Mostly concerned. Oh, okay. One of the small ones did well. Okay, 2 of them succeeded. The big one failed for 33 damage. A number 1, 2, 3, 4 of these just sort of explode into little bits of chitin and insectoid plates as they are decimated by this. The big one seems to be on its last legs, and there's one under it that I can't select. That one's dead. That one's not in it. No, that one is. Okay, he's dead too, we'll say. You do obliterate 4 of them, and the other ones, everything's looking really favorable for you, but there are a number of them that are hurt and still up.
Yeah. And now that I can't see as well, and Drata still is not within my view and probably just sneaking through the dark, I will give I'll give my next inspiration. Can I give it to an animal? I don't actually know if I've done that before. I guess creature other than yourself. So I guess I could give it to the thing.
Just pat it on the butt.
Yeah.
Go get him.
I think I would.
All right.
Alright.
Alrighty. Feel free to move if you would like.
Yeah, I'm gonna move further back.
Yeah, at present, it seems like they are either attracted to Clax because of the threat or attracted to Flint because of the metal. So they're not really looking at you, but you can move. Cool. Drata, you hear the chaos of more shattering in that way, and you see just all of them piling in around that corner.
Great. I'm moving on out.
You see a giant armadillo.
And I go, oh, so that's what an armadillo is. Oh, okay. And we'll start, I think, aiming for the small guys, maybe trying to hit ones that I don't know if I could tell if they're injured already. Trying to reduce numbers for if they break, or when the inevitable breakthrough comes.
Okay. Advantage doing sharpshooter or no?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So Hunter's Mark's still on the big one, so you're not using that, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Certainly a hit. That one's a miss. That one's a miss.
Great.
Unfortunately, this first one does have sneak attack though, and that may be the difference on killing it.
Sure
So,
does. Plus 17 from sharpshooter.
T2. Attacking one of the ones that you perceive as being weaker, you are able to finish it off.
Cool. Yeah, that's what I got. It's great over here in Drata Land. Feelings.
Right, Flint.
All right. I think I might try and move this way a little just to see if I can see better. Also get behind the armadillo. I think Flint's gonna go ahead and try and use Fireball. And see how that works for the first time. And I think get the impression that there's more coming around that corner, but I can't super see them, so I'm gonna try to, I think, catch. I don't know if I can get this little one here in front without grabbing or without hurting the armadillo or my turret, but I think I'm gonna try this. And get an extra D8 on that.
It gets the extra D8 as well. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, anything I cast, basically anything I cast.
Is that the exact placement you want? Just asking before I start doing rolls.
I think so. I don't know if that'll hit that close one.
Yeah,
but I think
there's the other part. Like, so you're trying to not hit the Armadon. Is that
trying to not hit the Armadon? Trying to get sort of around that corner.
Okay.
Because in case there's more coming, I can't. I know there's at least the ones I can see. Not sure if they're all cleared out of that tunnel yet or not. But yeah.
Okay. Let's roll for all these men, or not men. Your DC of 17, 1 succeeds. What does Flint's fireball, being the first time you're activating such a powerful spell, what does that look like?
Well, I think effectively I can't throw it around corners or anything. I think in my head he's got effectively what looked like some sort of, I don't know, medieval grenade or something, some small metal device that he throws over that way, and then explodes in a big magical fire in that area.
Okay. As it explodes with 39 damage, only the one that succeeded the save survives, and that includes the large one. Despite its fire resistance, you don't know if it's the fire or the percussive force, but as it was on its last legs, it is blown onto its hermit shell back and just sort of like it has its insectoid legs like sticking in the air in a rigid state. It is dead.
And then as my
and the glowing on it subsides as this room gets noticeably darker once again.
Then as a bonus action, I'm going to try and move my flame turret back a little and see if I can get all three of these in its cone. If I can find the ability. There we go. I don't know if this might work.
I'll say it does. It's a very imprecise template. So
fair. That is also a DC 17 save for 13 damage.
They are suffering from that as non-fire resistant creatures do. Sorry. So, okay. Is that your turn?
Yeah. I don't actually know how to get rid of these templates, but
that's fine. I do it periodically.
Fair. Yes, that is my turn.
Alrighty. Mouse, you sort of look at as this explosion of energy erupts, and you can sort of barely see the remaining ones. Give me an insight check if you would like.
Sure.
Hey, natural 20. These things look disconnected from reality. This is a swarm without a hive, or sorry, a swarm without a queen. You get the impression that, and I think like they're probably just going to start wandering these halls aimlessly, probably without even noticing your party.
Hey guys, I think we killed their leader. We should still clean up the rest of them, though, right?
Calling out from the void. Yes, please.
Okay. For the purposes of simplicity, there are not more around that corner. There are, I think, like over the next 30 seconds, there are a few more that pop out of a few of these eggs, and Clax, just in the Armadon form, just goes around smashing everything that he can, and Drada and whoever else wants to join and just sort of dish out the final blows to bring these foes to an end. And let's go ahead and take a break with that in mind. This combat is over.
Easy.
No one went down. I love that for us.
Spike
No one's armor.
Alrighty. Having survived this encounter, still moments later after the cleanup efforts to destroy the various eggs and the few of the rust monster spawn that had separated from the queen that you fought, you now sit in relative silence in the dark of these catacombs with a giant Armadon and your entire party very healthy, if not untouched. A little bit more spent than you were a few minutes ago, but I don't believe anybody suffered any consequences from that fight.
I'll
That was
try.
a great job. Like, we made a plan and executed it.
I mean, Mouse, that's spike growth or whatever weird roses you like summon from the ground. They did a fantastic job.
I didn't see it, but I'm sure it was great.
Clax,
Do
your
we think
intelligence
we
is...
should
Oh, sorry.
keep-
Clax, your intelligence is currently 5. You have no idea what they're saying.
Understood.
Do we think we should keep the armadillo around for safety? Or do we want clocks back?
How long does it last for?
An hour.
This form is certainly more pleasant.
Does he understand us? Like, will he?
Oh no, I don't
Oh.
think so. I think he is literally an Armadon.
Can he follow us, or can we get him to follow us?
Yeah, of course I can.
Sure, let's go.
I mean, as long as he's not causing problems, seems useful.
Hey, we all know how much he loved being around. So that was just a really fun core experience for him. I'm sure this will just be even better.
Hey, Gerada, I just want to let you know I didn't trap you in. It was supposed to be like a major image wall, like, ooh, you can't
Wait.
pass through here.
I thought you learned a new. Okay, cool.
No, that was my major image. In case they were smart enough to realize what was happening, I tried to make it look like, yeah, I'm summoning Earth to build this wall. Yeah,
Great.
I should have
forgot
said
that.
something. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, it's okay. I mean, hey, I'm fine. You're fine. We made a plan. It was effective, and I love that for us. And that's great. Do we want to keep going and not just stand at the precipice of a giant chasm?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, I think we keep going this way and see if we can find another exit.
Clax, as a intelligence 5 creature who just fought a lot of bugs, what are you doing? You don't perceive your friends as hostile. Something of your nature seems to not be threatened by humanoids. They're not friends or foes, but you're just sort of in this big underground space.
Can I try to be friendly and coax and help Armadon Clax follow us?
Well, what is Clax doing as you're talking, first of all?
So just trying to get a gauge for a 5 intelligence, and it's like example D&D 5 creatures, baboon. I'm like, okay, baboons
You can work
when
with.
they're when they're not chewing someone's face off aren't that bad. So
It's only 3 points lower than Mouse.
You don't know a language, but you have an awareness of your surroundings, and probably an awareness that these are friends.
yeah, so I think
that then sorry, just the fact that that's only 3 points lower than Mouse means that language isn't that far below Mouse's capacity. Because it's in between the difference between the giant Armadon and Mouse, and that brings a lot of joy.
yeah. I think it's really just kind of so long as nothing is threatening me, And since I perceive these to be relatively fine, just go and kind of wander, meander, see if anything catches my interest. But for all intents and purposes, I'm indifferent to them because they're not hurting me, and I don't perceive them as a threat.
Yeah, I think there's an element of comfort because you are a natural burrowing creature, but Mouse, with a little bit of gentle coaxing, you were able to lead Clax in whatever direction you'd like. Which direction would that be? What do you? We sort of revealed that there are offshoot cave systems down here. You investigate the immediate space and see that this seemed to be like what was the battle map functionally. Seems to be a more enclosed cavern with different that seems to be a nest of sorts for these creatures. But were you to double back and start to look into some of those paths that had iron on them, you have no idea where those would go. Currently, you've hit the dead end, at least through this way. So is your intent to explore further? Are you intending to rest here, or is there anything else that you're doing here before you leave?
I would maybe try and investigate the big one, but like with like I'm trying to decide if I have anything like wooden or something. I don't really want to poke it with anything metal, but I am just trying to figure out what the heck it is, or if it had any parts I could use, or if for some reason it's covered in valuable metals or something on its shell.
Okay.
On a torch, go poke at it with a torch.
There you go. Yeah.
I'd say give me investigation, just as you sort of assess what this thing is.
Man, my rolls lately have been rough.
I think it's
what
just
if he had advantage because I gave him a stick?
Is that Drada giving Flint a boost?
Yeah.
It's like it's this big hermit crab like creature's on its back, and Flint's just like, I can't get up there. All right, go ahead and roll again then.
All right.
That is considerably better. How long? Well, let me ask. How long are you all intending to stay down here? Are you trying to do a glance, or are you trying to like dig through?
I'd spend maybe 5 minutes or something, but nothing crazy, I think.
Okay.
I will be right back.
Okay.
Over.
I think what you, in the scope of 5 minutes, what you sort of discern, sort of just like trying to look into its mouth and assess its structure, the kind of like chitin plates that are on this creature, you imagine that they sort of on the inner layer of it all, that there seems to be a membrane that you imagine if you spent some time down here, you might be able to extract a sample of it to try to create something that might replicate this like rust effect. More of like a rust bomb, not like anything permanent. It's not a magical substance. So you would be looking for like the alchemical reagents if you wanted to create something. But sort of but I think what strikes you see that as an opportunity, whether you want to take it or not. But what you also see is sort of as it's laying dead with its mouth agape, there seems to be like I'd say with a 23, you think it swallowed a ring that you sort of see jammed in its gums that is not corroded.
I mean, I'll scooch my armor way up on my arm and whatnot, or take my sleeves off or something and try and reach in there and grab it.
I think with enough, you have a knife of some kind. Yeah. You pull it out. It looks like a reasonably well-made ring. It is a little damaged. Like it has like a very light corrosion on it. You're not sure if it's some kind of alloy, like a mixture of ferrous and non-ferrous metals or something. And it seems to have like some kind of energy within it that does strike you as moving, or like it's like a little gemstone that you don't know what it is, and has like a little twirl within it.
I'll pocket that for now, and maybe when we're resting or something, I'll try and identify it.
Okay. Is anybody else doing anything in this time, just within the space?
Nas is
No.
ready to like get out of here.
I mean, other than currently lifting a small flint up, no.
Okay. Anything, Aesop? You just ready to get out?
Yeah, I'm trying to decide. I think Aesop's just like, is the wind picking up in this offshoot tunnel? Like, I guess just trying to figure out if there's a way out from this cavern.
Okay.
Or from the caverns nearby. Tunnels.
Yeah. I don't think it's possible to make that kind of. Well, go ahead and roll me a perception check. We'll see what a nat 20 brings. There's no draft in here.
Damn.
Oh my god. All right. I would say what you do is you open up your senses and realize you are not finding what you want to find.
Sure.
But as you open up your senses, you do see, like, in the sort of like between the egg sacs and sort of carcasses that you've left behind, you do see the scattering of like an open bag. And sort of like, I think like you listen for a sound and you just don't hear anything, and you disappointingly look over to your party and just see that they're standing on top of this. You poke around and go ahead and roll me a D20.
Mm-hmm. Plus anything or just a D20?
Just a D20.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
You do find 200 gold worth of rare gemstones that seems to have fallen, or like whatever these things have been eating. You also find like really decayed swords, or like things that are arguably items that were once steel, but you see sort of underneath all that is this like leather bag that has like 200 gold worth of precious stones in it.
Pretty good.
None of them are diamonds. These are all just sort of like jade and amethyst and things like that.
I'm like, y'all, we got some gems. I'll put them in my bag.
And this is why we go to random places. They have things.
Well,
Let's get the fuck out.
do we backtrack a little bit and try one of those other offshoots and see if they lead out of here?
Sounds great to me.
Alrighty. Assuming Drada's leading this, well, are you, now that you, at least the major threat has seemingly been dispatched?
I'm probably still a little bit ahead of folks. I'm just, because superior dark vision is helpful, and there's not a lot of times where I can be with everyone and also vibe alone. So why not take it?
Okay. Go ahead and just roll investigation, survival, or perception, depending on how you're approaching this.
Perception, just because I think I'm trying to notice. Yeah, like, is there a breeze coming from somewhere? Am I noticing like a grade upwards anywhere? It feels more just like I'm looking around and seeing if there's anything that comes to mind.
Okay. With a 24, what you do find is something that probably doesn't make you too happy. Being you sort of piece this together, but clearly whoever created this secret passage, it was meant to be a back door into this place that that bad things happened in. And I think what you see is a variety of marks on the wall that increasingly you recognize to be like sun-shaped. Not quite the same sigildry as the Unifier crest, but sort of in that vein of like sort of like marks on the edge of the tunnel in chalk that are a type of code that you don't know offhand, but that sort of imply that this is where people who may have locked down this facility were marking a path out of that heads north. Feeling about that as you may, I think you sort of follow that trail. After I'd say about throughout most of the travel, with a roll of 24, you're actually moving at a relatively fast pace, but nonetheless, Klax or Mouse, you would know that Klax is about to pop out. And I think like Drada in doing the Fort Approach and reporting back, there's a point where you come back and Klax suddenly shrinks back to his normal form.
Well, I have to say, that was better than being a rabbit.
You're pretty cool.
Well, I know that.
Never seen an armadillo.
They're just like
I know, that was
hanging
pretty
that
sick.
Sorry, Drada, what was that?
nothing. I said nothing. It definitely wasn't a slight. Move on.
But you continue to lead them up and do find that this tunnel does eventually exit just outside the wall in a similar stairway here at the outside of the city. As you all start to, I think by both following the marks and you start to feel the ground shift into an incline as you all see the sun above you and step out into the uncivilized side of the wall.
So is this entrance that we emerge from kind of like hidden, like?
It's similar to the other one. It is sort of like embedded into the side of the island.
Gotcha. Okay.
Without
If we ever
knowing that
needed
there's
to,
a
like-
stairway there, it would be very hard to find.
If you ever needed to get someone in or out of the city, this is very good to know. That
So, but our entrances though are through the bank, through the marbled walls, or outside.
Yeah.
Have we found one that gets us inside the walls, not inside the marble walls, without going through the bank?
Not yet.
I mean, we could just walk up to, whatever, north left of here. Looks like there's a gate.
Yeah, I mean, you can get back. You know how to get back into the city without issue.
Okay. Well, what do we do now? Do we go back the way we came? Come back out through there? Or do we just head on back? Drada, I mean, do we do what needs to be done there?
Sorry, Drada was just blowing their nose. They have bronchitis.
Oh, good.
I mean, we cleared out the facility. It is considerably safer to go in than it was before. We learned that it's still almost kind of close to usable, question mark. I mean, if we went back in through the bank, I guess we could tell whether or not we were followed or other people got in. But other than that, I kind of think we got done what we needed to get done.
I don't think it'd be much further out of our way to just stay outside the wall and go up to the entrance northwest of us and then follow that down to the Burning Needle and give them the update. That way we don't have to worry about people seeing us coming and going from the bank.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I
That
don't know what
seems fine to
time,
me.
how late it is, if we want to just camp or...
Yeah, depending on the time, we could stop for the night somewhere.
Well, sun's shining, right?
The sun is currently up. You do see it is getting a little late. I think you would estimate that. I mean, you know that the Burning Needle's most active at night for reasons, and I think you would be able to estimate that you would get there as this just after the sun sets, or just as it is. Like, it's kind of perfect timing almost, you think, if you wanted to stop there.
Let's start walking.
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Just for the record, if we're getting into any more fights today, I'm completely tapped.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not do that. Then. That sounds great.
Alrighty. Well, you guys have a good 3-hour walk to reach your destination. Is there anything you guys talk about or debrief on the way there? Or you just want to get there and move on with your day?
These Burning Needle people are going to think we're amazing. Every time they tell us to do something that they think is going to be really hard, we just come back a day later and it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, are we setting ourselves up for failure down the road when we do a task in 3 days?
No. It's fine.
I love that mindset, but no, I don't think so. I think it's a good thing. They'll just like it.
I hope so.
And I mean, I think it's for the tickets that I have for the week that we are currently in for Savvy Show, or is it the following week? I think it's this week.
It's this week. I mean, it's any time over the next 6-ish days.
Yeah, so I think on the way back, I'm like, if you want some entertainment tonight, I got some tickets for my best friend's show. Heard she's pretty good. I could be a little biased, but I think it would be a good relief before we set off away from the city to most likely follow some of your leads, Clocks.
Did you want to take all of us, or did you want to take a bunch of your friends from college or whatever?
How many tickets do I have?
5. And you know that, I mean, your friends are, some of them are
Mostly
not here.
gone.
Yeah.
You're taking the entire staff of Mother Mary's.
No, I'm taking you guys. I can just send a message to Poppy, because she's currently, besides Savvy, the only one that's, I think, here. I think the other 2 are gone. Well, we know Jory's gone.
Sad.
I know. It's fine.
And the vibe just deflates for a minute.
And I'm like,
Um,
it might be a good relief for the tonight. Just, I wanted to put it out there.
I've never been to a concert before. That's fun.
So, well, for starters, you discuss these potential plans and arrive at the Burning Needle some hours later. The lights are dimmed tonight, which is you've seen this before. when you first encountered Master Crex here, it seemed to be a night where there was not a game. You don't hear the sounds of people placing bets in the main room or anything like that as you sort of stand outside, and there's nobody outside waiting for you.
Okay. I don't know if they'll want all of us or just me, but
I can wait outside.
I kind of assumed that feels right. Also just, I don't know, before I go in, I realize that we went into this part of our journey together with like not complete honesty and transparency. And I just wanted to say thanks for going on this the journey and fighting a bunch of weird monsters in a hole.
Would you prefer to go in alone?
Oh, whatever works. I don't know. It's been a weirdly emotional 24 hours for reasons, and I just feeling grateful and trying to express my gratitude. Yeah.
Big slap on the back.
Take 1
I
point of
get you.
damage.
Slaps me
you're
on the
fine.
back. I stumble forward, headbutt into the door, and that's how I knock on the door.
Careful mentioning the Dawnbringer stuff to them. I don't know. It's just
Probably
feel like
smart,
they
yeah.
might be getting in
Wait.
over their heads if they find out. I don't know.
I mean,
But I'll leave that up to you, I guess.
if I talk about it, I will not implicate you in any way, shape, or form, if you'd prefer, but
It could be for the best, but I don't think you're a very good liar. So,
what are you talking about? I'm great. How
yeah,
dare you draw?
me
This is like
too.
part 3. But no, that's fair. I mean, I feel kind of compelled to say like there's evidence they were there, but I'm happy to just not go into a ton of further details because I don't know them because you haven't told me about them, / you might not know them yourself.
Yeah, I think maybe just leaving it a little vague and indicating that maybe there was evidence that they were taken by some Dawnbringer group, but otherwise, trying to not tell him too much.
Yeah, I mean,
granted, I'm betting this guy's pretty
that's-
perceptive. He might hear me as I'm talking right now. I don't know.
That's so true. We'll find out. Hey, don't hate me for not withholding truth, but telling selective truth. I don't know. Okay, knock on the door.
I'll just give you some candid information. Is that like just in case this gets lost in our weeks off and whatnot. You don't really know that Hardhold has any connection to the eclipse. Like he was able to recognize the pendant, but like beyond that, there's clearly some disconnect from the homeland, because of the whole chalice situation. So you're not sure how much he would know to begin with, but you do knock on the door. After a few moments, you hear various locks and latches unlocking and unlatching as the door peeks open, and you see Spike behind the door, acknowledges the group, and then waves Strada in.
Have fun outside, guys.
As the doors closed and at least one of the locks is put back on, the he starts to escort you upstairs into the sitting area, and before you reach the top, says, "I think this is 4th time in a week. You're starting to make a home here."
I mean, community sounds nice, frankly, but we're just good at our job sometimes.
He, I think he's walking ahead of you. You don't see his face, but he doesn't say anything and walks upstairs to open up the larger sitting room where you see Hardhold sitting at that like command position, large comfy chair in the room once again. Looks up at you and says, "Drada, you're back again, I see."
Sure am. It's nice to see you. Been a long time. Again, awkward half chuckle. And then quickly moves on. Back from the blood bank. And says the matter.
What do you catch him up on, and what do you leave out?
I catch him up on, I think, just the basics of like the state of the condition of the fact that like the infrastructure is still there, pretty workable in fact. The entrance might be annoying to get into, but you can do it. And kind of navigating through, okay, there's these doors, here's the doors that you actually get, here's where you go downstairs, and all the things. I definitely say there is a back exit that branches and gets you inside the marble walls. That's a Benny Hill. It also gets you outside the city. If that's a Benny Hill.
You see, as you're going through this, there's a degree of he's waiting for you to get to the point, but then as you start to identify locations and back doors and whatnot, you see he pulls out a sheet of paper, and then out from under his pocket pulls out the pen that you bought him, and sort of like tips it to his tongue and starts to sketch out a rough map to follow along. So you, what else do you disclose?
Is genuinely touched by that. And is probably taken a little off guard, and then has to think and speak his way circularly back into trying to recount his experiences. Yeah, we'll talk about the exits being on the actual cliff face of the like on the edge. So like airship access, if you need it, maybe would definitely disclose that the like the signs that people had been there, that unifiers or someone had been there. Theoretically people know, but it might just not be known super well. I would talk about Jasper and Sebastian. And talk about, I think he probably, given that it was not a fun encounter for him, physically or emotionally, probably puts off talking about the husk of it all until he kind of can't really avoid it anymore, and says, we found these journal entries. Definitely gives the lever codes. Just of like, this is probably going to be helpful. But when we pulled the second set of levers, I saw something I've never seen before, which I guess is to say, like, the hollowed out husk of a person who just kind of lunged at us and attacked us. We think is this Jasper and doesn't exist anymore.
Just as I discern what his response is, just asking, did you take the sword out of the bag and do you have it with you?
I think, probably. I think he's probably going to be transparent about it.
Oh, well, I would say you could choose what to do with this information. There's no recognition. Like when you walk in with a sword, there's no notice of it.
Yeah.
And if you sort of say like I found this sword, he's like he doesn't respond to it unless you like delve into it more.
Probably given his a bad time TM attempting to attune to it, I think he's probably planning. He is the kind of person who pushes off things he doesn't want to talk about. So I think he's like, yeah, I'll talk about it and go into it, but we'll save that for after we get through the other gross emotional stuff that I don't necessarily want to talk about, but here we are.
Okay. Let's roll a quick thing for Mr. Hardold. Hey. Sort of as you're working through some of these things, you talk about unifiers. I think it's sort of in the scope of talking about the tunnels and the markings that he should follow. And you say it sort of looks like a sun, but you're not sure. And he sort of like raises an eyebrow at that, but lets you continue. And then it sort of as you're talking, as you sort of mention Jasper and what you found, he says, I haven't seen him for a long time, so, well, we'll collect what we can. It would be, he thinks to himself and says, it would be wise to contact Anushka and ask what to do with the body, I suppose. My curiosity tells me to, candidly, my curiosity tells me to bring it to somebody with an expertise in medicine and see what they make of it. But with respect, that may not be, well, it's very rare to have a body, I suppose, and so I'm not sure what the protocol is for it.
Yeah, that's fair.
As for Sebastian,
I'll get in touch.
Yeah, he says, Sebastian, he's sort of thinking and says, like, I think, if I recall, Jasper was Sebastian's bodyguard in addition to sort of the role that he had been hired to do at the bank. I recall Sebastian had some family as well when they disappeared. It sounds like the book didn't mention anything about them.
It referenced the Dawnbringers. In reference to, it was like a jumbled series of notes that had that phrase, and then like in all caps, like, no, I can't, or something in that. It was a lot of scattered, tattered papers, but...
Well...
I know he was associated with the Eclipse, and they haven't heard from him in a long time, too. So.
Very well. We will continue. Everything you've said is very helpful, and your work is appreciated. We will use what you've provided to further investigate collect what we can, not as a means of distrust. I believe what you say is true, but we're just going to give it a scan of our own, familiarize ourselves with the place so we can come up with some kind of plan on how to move forward with all this. Your friend, the small one, the
Wait, there's
one
two.
who's
Which
gambling,
one?
the one who's gambling.
Oh, Flynn, yeah.
Yeah. Recall something about him being a fixer-upper, so if he's ever in need of a job, we might be able to Give him a rebate.
Honestly, he was the one who was making a lot of the discoveries about how usable some of the pipes were, so he's not a bad ask.
Well,
He made gestures towards the crossbow. Yeah, makes it work wonders. Can I have to like sell him up because like obviously he's like my friend, but like he's great.
if he has downtime, send him our way. I'll make it worth his while. But I understand you all have perhaps things to do. For the time being, we need to follow up on your findings, check it out for ourselves. Pot's debt is cleared. Nothing to worry about on that end. And as far as the transgression from a few nights ago, assuming we can walk in and out of there safely, then you and your friends will be welcome here once again.
Appreciated. Heads up, rust monsters, awful. And they should all be dead, but like there were a lot of them. So if you go like pointing towards his drawing, like if you go that way, I think I took care of them all. There was a lot of other tunnels. Did the best we could. Heads up.
He has no idea what we're talking about, but he's like, all right, we'll investigate.
They're large, gross bugs that I shot a lot of, and honestly, it was very satisfying and cathartic to do so. But like, they will
he
destroy...
pauses you and says, "We will be thorough. I do appreciate it." Well, that leaves us with some homework. And for the time being, I think that's where we should leave things off.
Okay.
Next time you come by, let's have a conversation. As far as my protege is concerned, I have not really spoken to him too much following the encounter a few nights ago. Calmed him down just a little bit from his panic in that moment. I would consider your next form of engagement carefully. And
Seems wise.
I will think on it myself, but at the time, I am not prepared to make promises on his behalf. He is his own man.
Wouldn't ask you to do so.
Very good. He takes the pen and stuffs it back into his jacket and says, "Well, Drada, I will hear from you soon then. You don't have to come by tomorrow, to be clear.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on it.
Yes.
I
Take your
I've
time.
never been this much of a tryhard before, but here we are.
It's appreciated, but let's catch up later."
That sounds great. Have a lovely series of nights on your own without a bunch of people outside your door, potentially bringing progress and/or chaos.
I think this is, he's walking you towards the door with a hand on your back, slowly shoving you back towards Spike as you're quickly
Oh
speaking.
yeah, also this sword's like kind of magical. It's good for vampires, but like we can talk about that later. It was fine.
He just sort of says, "Okay," and then leads you out the door.
Okay, thanks.
Spike walks you out, and you're met again with your friends who, quick check, is anybody saying anything, talking about things during these like 10 minutes that Drada's gone? Just
Do you
patiently
think they're
waiting.
gonna pay us for all this?
Is anybody what for all this?
Do you think they're gonna pay us for all this work?
If I had to venture a guess, probably not. They're probably still pissed off about me. So yeah, I don't think we're getting paid.
Eh,
We have these gems.
True.
That is true.
I don't know that they would take them, but somebody around here probably would.
Yeah. Or we could use them to decorate our clothes. Oh, how magnificent would that be? I have to write this down. I have to draw. I'm like now drawing like sketches.
You could get so many like rhinestones for like a fraction of the cost.
These are real gems without even looking at you, Flint. I'm like, these are real gems, Flint.
They are. They make you such a target for pickpockets.
My big thing is, hopefully we're absolved of all this running around, and the bigger thing is, you think they're gonna hook us up with master cracks? 'Cause that's,
I don't know.
let's be honest, that's what we needed out of this.
Where's the concert at? right
It's
here?
at
As Strahda steps out into the open air of his friends.
it's at Hyperia Theater, which is closer to where we are now than if we go back to my parents' place.
Hyperia Theater. I don't know if it's on here. It's over
Yep.
here.
We're good for now. Flint, they might want to like employ you in future.
I mean, if we have
Want a
some
gig,
time coming up, but we keep pretty
if
busy.
you ever have time, yeah, if you ever have time in the city and want to fix some pipes, they'd be happy to pay you.
Oh god, is Flint Mario? Is that?
Fucking love it.
You eat a mushroom and you get bigger.
Yeah, wait. Oh my god, fire. You have a fire flower on you at all times.
He does. He does.
This was not my intention when I made this character.
This is the $10 DLC skin.
At least like once per combat, can you just incorporate a really quiet Yahoo?
We'll see.
Okay, yeah. Potts is good. Like, she's just good. Absolved of everything going
Alright.
forward. Yeah, Krex is has been calmed down. The word of warning I got was just be cautious in how you interact with him. I don't think it was everything is perfectly smoothed over after 4 days or so, but I don't think he's going to actively try to end us or sabotage us in any way, shape, or form.
Aesop, roll a perception check. I think you're just because you're the paranoid one. Having
I mean,
And
yeah,
you're
I did
outside
get
in the dark.
followed.
You're outside in the dark. Mention, all right, 21. You don't think there's anybody around you, but it just sort of occurs to you that it's nighttime
That's fair. Like,
and you're out in the city.
Yeah, I kind of approached it of it's on them now to explore the bank and make sure what we said is true and see that it might be made more helpful, more useful in future. And after that point, maybe there's more work to do. But we're kind of good for a bit. Sorry, I don't have anything more tangible as far as the Rex stuff goes, but I mean, I'll take not having him rat us out to a certain woman in red very quickly. That's not a win.
So, but where does that leave us?
I think that leaves us leaving the city.
Okay.
I mean, is there anything we need like to wrap up? Like, we could stop by tomorrow and check on if they've figured out a guild hall for us or something, but I don't think
that's
we have
the
much
only
else major to do.
I would want to touch base with Alua before we leave.
Well, we got to figure out where we're going, even. You know, are we? I don't know.
Yeah, we could stay in the city and try something else, but it sounds like I don't know. My shit seems to be subsiding for a moment, and I know it's important for you, Clax, to stay on and try to keep folks accountable. So it feels kind of right to pivot back to one of your aims. I mean, what seems of this loop list of people?
How stealthy could you be? Never mind. I'll keep that thought for later.
No.
I'm just eyeing up Drada. Like
Harry,
thinking of a
do you want me to
plan.
slip into the marble walls and assassinate someone? I've been thinking about it for a long time.
Yeah.
Let's not opposed to that idea.
It's probably a terrible one, but I have had the thought. Anyways,
I think there's something wrong with you. I think there's a lot wrong with you, but you worry me sometimes.
great. Trauma's really fun for everyone, and
I
sometimes
just laugh and give him another slap upside the back, thinking he's kind of half joking.
great. That was fun. Thanks for that.
Can I just clarify, what direction are you walking in while you have this conversation? I assume you're just not sitting on the stoop of the...
Yeah, I assume we were walking towards the theater. Anybody else?
Where we want to go?
Mm-hmm.
At this hour of night, by the time we walk back, it's going to be late either way.
I mean, good thing I carry my fancy clothes with me, so just give me a second to run into the restroom and I'll just go change.
Drada snaps, and his cloak just turns into a formal cape very quickly.
Or do we need to put on our nice clothes?
I mean, if you have them, it would just be a fun thing to do, right? Just because it's, the theater, right?
I mean, sometimes certain decorum is expected when going into a theater. Sometimes you have to see a flag that you really don't want to see as soon as you walk into the lobby, and that's really fun for everyone involved. You have to just get through it.
Like, is this like a concert at like a bar, or is this like a opera at a theater?
No, it's probably one of the biggest theaters in the city, and it's really hard to get tickets for it.
But
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what moshing is, but that's not the vibe. It's not
No.
that. Okay, great.
No. I would be shocked if she was singing for a crowd like that.
I mean, I will level set. This is not even if it is the biggest theater in the city, it's not behind the marble walls, which is to just sort of indicate if you go to the Kennedy Center, some people wear jeans, some people don't. There's not a strict dress code, but some people like to dress up.
So you guys can choose to dress up if you want. I just think it's really fun. And just be a little classy one night,
Figure our regular clothes are probably a little dirty from just crawling around in a cave for several hours.
Maybe some bug guts. But yeah. Classy look great.
I do what I can do.
If they're in the bag, I will put on the clothes I wore that we got for the thing.
Tournament of Tales, yeah.
That.
Yeah. I think you all have something. I mean, you can just show up in your armor if you wanted to, but I'm pretty sure you all have some kind of tunic to throw over it if you wanted to. Yeah.
What you see is what you get.
All right. And
do you want the cloak? Do you want to make a fun cape or something for your armor? Do you want the cloak that can turn into whatever you want it to turn into to make your armor look fancy or nice?
Oh, I thought you said mouse. I'm sorry.
No, Clax. Yeah.
No, I said Clax.
My bad. My apologies. I'm staring right at you. I'm like, what's going on? No, I'm good. You keep it.
Okay.
I'm not going to get kicked out, am I?
No.
I don't think so.
Judgmental people will judge you, but that's just how it goes.
As long as you don't just rush out of your chair and try to stab someone, you should probably be fine.
Ooh. You just brought up something. For these types of events, because I've only just walked by on guard duty when these types of things are going on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a chance we're going to encounter nobility.
Probably, but they won't be. Do I look at the tickets? Are they like VIP, like balcony seats?
No,
Yeah.
And this is a large theater, but it doesn't. It does have sort of that premium balcony seating, but this is not it. You are kind of like respectfully in the 8th row.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is 30 feet from the stage. It's not that bad.
Right. That does mean we're below. So I'll like relay that information to class. They'll be like, that does mean we're below the premium seats, which nobility do sit there. Realize now why you might have conflict with that.
What are the odds? I'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
And
I
the
can make
DM
it smaller if you want.
I've had enough changing in one day. I'm good.
I can also make an animal if you want. But
What animal is best
understand the
suited
play.
for the theater?
Before I answer that, what was Drada saying?
What animal is best suited for a night at the theater? That's the question.
Nothing.
A weasel.
Oh, I actually might fit in with all the other weasels that are there. But no, I'll be good. But thank you very much, Mouse, for the opportunity.
Well, you all start. You find a place to get dressed and start to make your way to the theater. And as you approach, there's sort of an air of like people are starting to get seated already. You guys are showing up actually pretty late. Insofar as it seems like this is actually their second show of the evening. You actually do look down at the tickets, and it's like it does say from 6 to 9 p.m. And it's already past 9. But you come here anyway, and you're like, oh, there's a second show. And as you come up, you see that this one seems like it's a little less attended. And as you approach, there's sort of like a box office-ish area, and there's sort of a thin, sort of smiling elf woman. You've probably seen her before coming through here, who sort of asks you for your tickets.
Here are my tickets. Here for the second showing.
She looks at them and does sort of like give a little bit of a grin face as she says, I'm afraid these let me ask.
My best friend is performing. I just want to see her before I leave the city. Please just let us in.
Roll me persuasion check.
Oh, that was perception. Oops.
That's fine. Keep the natural 19. You're fine.
Okay.
So it's like a million because you're you.
20. That's a 28. Yes. Like, please, I got all dressed up for this, and she's performing, and I'm leaving soon. It's just the only night that I could do it.
Let me ask somebody. I'll be right back.
And then I'll turn around to the group and be like, and scene.
You're a terrible person. And I love that about you.
Hey, I wasn't lying, was I? You just gotta up the emotion of it.
Acting is lying. But, like, stylishly.
Yeah.
After 2 minutes or so, you see her come back with another figure who you don't recognize. This is a kind of like tallish, lanky man who is wearing a mask of sorts, like there's almost a nature of like a costume, like perhaps this is part of the performance, you're not sure, but there's a costume nature, like an almost like jester with a like porcelain mask on it, who sort of like is looking at you all and then whispers something into her ear, and before they disappear back around the corner. And she sort of walks back up to the desk and says, "Of course, you all are welcome. Let me just change out these seats. These ones are taken." And she sits you very close to where you were seated before. In fact, a little closer. And she hands you the tickets and like sort of rips off a stub of it and says, "Please enjoy the show. We'll be starting here in about 5 minutes. I would get seated if you can."
Okay. Thank you so much.
And you are all led through wearing your various clothes. As you are walking down, like this theater has a boxy shape to it, and the nature of sort of how that construction is, it's much like a stadium. You walk on the perimeter of it, and if you have reasons to go upstairs, you would then sort of walk upstairs into the balconies that would look down. But you are sort of in directing to your section. You're walking along sort of the leftmost edge of it, so you don't have to walk through the crowd just by walking through the middle of the entire thing. And as you are sort of opening a curtain that seems like it had been closed because the show was about to start, as you're opening a curtain to sort of look out into the room, it's not sold out, but it does have quite a few people as you look out into the audience for the first time. There's probably at least a couple hundred people here. The stage is relatively large. This is not Madison Square Garden, or anything like that, but it is a large theater, and this is a good showing, you would say. Before you step in, well, I guess I would say, like, how sort of knowing that you guys are looking to take your seats in soon, is there anything that you're sort of looking for as you're navigating this space, just based on some of your prior conversations before you sort of go in and take your seats?
Oh, I'm looking up and seeing if I recognize any nobility, specifically a lady that would make Plax very unhappy if she were in attendance.
Roll perception if you'd like.
I'm looking for our seats. Just sit down.
Yeah, there's signage enough to find your seats without rolling. But,
Perfect. Yes.
A 22, you look up,
Good.
and the balconies are not very well attended this evening. And you look up and you see sort of a cluster of people that you don't recognize. Nobody from the Tournament of Tales, nobody that you've ever met before. Certainly no Selny Vaughn, just sitting in one of the four balcony areas, prime spots. The other ones seem to be empty tonight.
Good as far as an unfortunate.
I would like to sidle up to Aesop
Mm-hmm.
and say, "So I've never been to the theater before, and I know sometimes when I'm trying new things, I make assumptions that they act in a certain way. Is there anything I need to know about tonight?"
Well, to be honest, I don't know what kind of show we're about to watch. However, it's more like we sit down in our chairs and hopefully they're comfortable. And we just kind of watch. There's not a lot of like outward commentary because that might like distract the actors or whatnot. But usually we just kind of like sit down, watch, enjoy ourselves. It didn't seem like they had any refreshments unless we would be eating. Maybe not that type of theater, of course. But yeah, no, it's more about enjoying the show.
You looking at the stage to just try to gauge what kind of show it is. The set is pretty simple. There are these long, sort of maroon curtains that are draped sort of in a semicircle pattern. This is a preset stage. There's no like single drape that blocks everything right away. So there's a preset stage, and you see primarily that there is a like central podium that has a kind of like a crystal platform that somebody would stand on. You've been here before. You know that that is sort of one of the staple features of this theater, is that it is like a passive thaumaturgy amplifier platform, where somebody who's standing on this can be heard throughout the entire auditorium without needing to cast spells themselves. And around there are a number of sort of different behind the crystal platform. There are like 5 statues that may or may not be stone because of props, but one of them is sort of like a knight with a sword sort of shoved into the ground in front of them, and then the others sort of represent other types of, I would say, archetypes. There's like a wizardy type with a staff with the stereotypical pointy hat and long robes. There's somebody holding a bow with like a feather in there, in like a quilled hat. There's a sort of like a sleuthy type person who's holding a dagger backwards and sort of crouched down. And then there is a somebody who is holding a mace upwards, and sort of has like a holy appearance to them. You don't really know what to expect beyond that. You know that the show is the Moonlight Melody, so you have no idea what any of this sort of symbolizes, but you do sort of look up, and there is a sort of the some kind of rays. You don't know what the lighting system is in here in fantasy D&D, but there are like what appear to be moon rays that are sort of touching down on each of the statues.
I'll point those out to Mouse. I think it's mainly going to be a lot of singing, which, I mean, she's so freaking talented, so I can't wait to hear her. But is there anything that you're worried about?
You're interrupted briefly. I think you're sort of still standing at the precipice of entering this stage, and the individual who you saw earlier with a mask, who seemed to be wearing a costume of some kind of like gingerly sidles up behind you guys and says, did I hear correctly that you're friends of tonight's performance?
Yeah, me and Savvy, we went to college together, and we've been friends ever since.
Wonderful. Perhaps come find me here after the show if you would like to speak with her after. But I actually have a bit of a favor, and he sort of looks over at Clax and says, I could use, there's a little bit of some of the backdrop that we're supposed to push in. It's gotten a little stuck. We could use some muscle to help get it unstuck. Do you just have a few minutes before the show starts?
Sure thing.
Great. Please, if you all could take your seats, I'll make sure to escort him back when the show starts.
We can't see anything underneath the mask that this person is wearing, correct?
No.
Okay. So I have no indication of who this person
you do
is.
see like I think I described a like elven featured face with like a forward mask. There's no like, it's not a whole head wrap or anything.
Sure. Okay.
This isn't the weird, awkward, whatever person that we saw in the vision that also wore a mask.
No, this isn't. This does not. Yeah, this is not Bergilla.
Okay.
There's somebody with mannerisms that don't reflect that at all. But he sort of says, he sort of looks at you all and says, please be seated. It'll just be a minute. Could you, and sort of starts to direct Clax back down the hallway that you were initially walking through.
Can I follow him?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Can I follow him? Y'all? Does this feel fine? Are we just gonna let Clax go?
It's a hitter. Like, it should be fine, right?
Somebody asked for help. We help.
You all take your seats, I assume?
Yeah.
I love making you guys paranoid. It's fun.
All I know is I was staring intently at you. I was like, he could play good poker.
You all take your seats and you hear sort of the chit chat of the crowd that is sort of the anticipation. You're not in a, like, this is, again, not sold out, but I'd say it's about 80% capacity. Fairly good showing. It's one of those times where it would be awkward to get closer seats because somebody would see you if you were to try to steal closer seats. Clax, you are escorted into, as you're sort of walking out the outer perimeter, the individual opens a door and says, just in here, we just have some stuff to move around, and ushers you in. As you sort of cross the threshold, it seems to be a storage room of some kind. There's boxes everywhere. Some of them are open, some of them are not. And points in the direction of a curtain in the corner that says the stage is just back here. Continues to bring you forward. As you open the curtain, it sort of strikes you is that it's very dark in here.
I was literally just going to ask what's the lighting like, but continue.
And you feel something sharp in sort of like holding you in position at your back. As you sort of you look into, as you pull the curtain back, you look into a very, very small closet that seemed to be covered by this curtain. There's nothing here to push. You are wearing your armor, but it's sort of like between the chains of your ring mail. There's like a feeling of like a rapier. Nothing that has attacked you yet. Functionally, this is a readied action if we're talking initiative of any kind.
So, kind of still staring towards the corner, and I'll just kind of be, I'm not seeing the stuff you said needs moved, but I feel like there's like a little mosquito or gnat poking me in the back. While you're back there, can you take a look at that for me?
Are you
Still facing forward? I'm not
yeah.
making any sudden movements.
Yeah. A very familiar voice of Master Krex responds and says, if we were friends, you wouldn't call me such things. And I'm really, really trying to find any kind of friendship in the way I was approached the other night.
Let's be clear, I'm not trying to make friends. I'm going to kind of, hands up, attempt to slowly turn towards him. See if he'll let me.
He will. Roll me a persuasion check.
Because I'm very good at these. Good roll. Nope.
It's sort of like, I don't know what your personal stance is, but he very much sees you as a threat. And so before he allows you to turn around, he does reach to take your axe and sort of tosses it 20 feet behind him. Looks at it, sees you have a hand axe, reaches, takes that, tosses it 20 feet behind him. And then sort of like moving you with the sword, not with strength, but just sort of like guiding you to face him. There's very, very low light in here, as you see that whatever illusion he was wearing before has fallen, and it is him in his cloak, in his full form that you recognize him in, without any kind of mask. And he says, "You have a grudge with our mutual associate."
I wouldn't necessarily say associate, but I think I've made that pretty clear, my stance on her. And the fact I'm still alive means there's some questions that you want answered.
What do you know about me? What do you know about Yvonne and her operation?
Ooh, how far do we want to go in this? I know enough to know that she's causing irreparable harm.
You were vague back at the Needle. I need candor. I need answers.
Okay.
There's just the two of us.
What specific answers are you looking for? And out of character, I'm going to do my best to refresh. So,
He says, for starting, what do you know about me? Besides my name, and that she gifted me a cloak, something that only few were present towards.
I know that you met with Vaughn, Bagella, can't think of the gnome, the elf. Forgive me for names right off the top of my head. I'd have to go back through my notes here. And you guys talked about production issues, went through different plans, and then in the conversation, there was definitely an exchange between you and Stelny that did not seem like this was a mutual arrangement where you were happy to be involved in this situation.
Who told you that?
I don't think you'd believe me if I told you.
There's like a non-damaging, like inch forward.
Do you know what the flowers are originally used for?
I haven't the faintest idea.
Okay. In traditional elven customs, they will actually use these flowers in traditional ceremonies to induce visions of things that have transpired.
So you're saying that nobody told you this, you saw it.
Told you weren't going to believe me. But I wasn't the only one who saw it. And there were other people there. And we all came to the same agreement that you would probably be the most reasonable person to speak to. Because we do not think that you were directly working for your own benefit, but were rather being controlled.
So what happened that night is all you know. Why do you care?
Why do I care what happened that night? I don't really care what happened that night.
Why are you invested at all?
I'll speak for myself. I'm vested because Selene Vaughn, for all intents and purposes, ruined. I don't say ruined my life because I think my life's a little bit better. Cost me some friends, cost me my livelihood, cost me where I was at, and people like that need to be brought to justice one way or the other. And the more I've gone down this path, I don't know if justice means in front of the magistrate. So I'm out for personal revenge, like just plain and simple. Now, the altruistic part of me that I could sit here and blow smoke up your rear is that I'm here to do better for the world and to get the vapor off the streets and do all this, and that's just all side wonderful tangible benefits. But the reality is, I just want to punish the bitch.
It's sort of like a deep through the nose inhalation. And he says, and you know nothing else.
I can sure make inferences and other things along those lines, but anything else would be guesses and conjecture.
Does Clax have a mental goal that you're trying to communicate? Are you trying to say, let's be friends? I'm just curious through what lens this should all be read as.
To me, it should be read as, I really don't give two shits about you. It's one of those things, if you want out of your situation, I'm your reason to get out of it. Like, you need an excuse, you need the out, you need that person, I'm here. And if you're not, you're just going to be my way. So it's not that I don't want to be your friend, anything like that. It's just literally, you know, hell, I'll even say, am I reading a pause in the conversation? Because I'll just look at him. And I'll just turn and say, Master Crex, the reality is, I don't care if you like me. I don't even know if I really care to like you. Doesn't matter. What matters is, I have someone I want to, for lack of a better term, take care of. And I don't mean in a good way. And I think you're the easiest avenue to get me there. And how do you get something out of it? Is it seems like you're under her control. And so it's one of those, you help me, I eliminate the problem, you're no longer under her control. If you want to be my friend because of that, great. But if not, I don't really care. That's my value proposition.
Roll me a persuasion check with advantage.
Ooh.
Your DC, just to be clear before you roll, is 10. Now, I know you're not a charisma person, but let me just explain is that, like, okay, it just for candor, it's a +0, so everybody else knows. What's going through Cress's head right now is sort of like a damned if I do, damned if I don't. Like, he's either going to make himself even more of an enemy of Selny, or he's going to try to find a way out of it. There's risk for him to even listen to Clax, let alone to let Clax live, let alone to further Clax's goals. So you've made a pretty compelling case, but there's still the element of what if Selny finds out?
Absolutely.
So DC 10 with advantage, +0. Don't roll low. All right.
I should have rolled the actual check, but I did. There's a modifier, so never mind.
The tightness of the rapier against your ringmail lessens as he takes a step back, still holding the sword towards you. And he says, when an opportunity arises, I will contact you. Until then, stay out of my business here. And let me see. Give me some time.
Okay. First things
if you're
first.
Going to take her down, there has to be a plan. And now's not the time to figure it out.
Okay. First things first. I know he's got the rapier still out. Extending warrior shake. Klaxos Aliax. It's like if it wasn't if it was like below a 15, I don't know that he would take it. With a 17, he does sheath the rapier and like carefully embraces her hand and says,
Marcellus Crex.
So Marcellus Crex, or do you prefer Master Crex?
Doesn't matter. Enjoy the show. I'll be in touch.
Before you, one last thing. You said you'll be in touch. Don't do anything now. Should I go pay some of your other compatriots a visit for not so much an offer, but more of a more persuasionary talk with this in the meantime? Or should I, or are you telling me not to interrupt the business, period?
I don't know anybody else well enough to... I don't know anybody else well enough to guide you. Nor do I care about them.
Fair enough.
Just keep me out of it.
Understood.
He nods, looks over at your weapons, leaves them there, and just sort of exits. And we'll stop there because it's 10 o'clock.
Jeez!
Could have killed
Oh
off a
my
PC,
God.
chose not to.
The way I was rolling, I was ready. I was like, shit. This might be it.
And you guys just had to, I was like, not gonna long rest? All right. Sorry. All right. That's it.
Am I remembering right?